What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Shared Screens Media Club, the place you go to talk about movies, video games, TV shows, but not books. It's just me and Le'Aaron today. The Queen's dead, so there's a lot of weird energy in the room, but we are here to talk about She-Hulk Episode 4. Is this not real magic? Joining me today is Le'Aaron Jass.
As he said 30 seconds ago. Yeah, joining us from the surface of the sun is Le'Aaron Jass. I'm dying. I need this rain.
Yeah, I hear LA's hot right now.
Oh, it's hot. It's 102 degrees right now in Orange.
Oof.
Yep, and it's 5:38 here. It is too late for it to be that hot. Anyways.
Yeah. I have an aunt in Phoenix, and the guideline I give my family is my temperatures don't need to look like intro college courses.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you think of the episode, Le'Aaron?
This episode made me angry for a multitude of reasons. I mean, I feel like everybody can agree this was a big filler episode.
Yeah.
In that not a lot happens. It's a lot of character development stuff, which I guess for some people isn't filler. For me, it's kind of filler.
See, I don't even think I'm at a place where I could decide whether this one is filler or, let's say, like, the last episode was filler because, you know, as of last week, we're a third into the show. There's a total of 9 episodes. This was episode 4, so it's like we're getting into like what is essentially the second act of this season. And I have no inkling of there being an overarching story. And so this is like the first episode where like I liked the episode on like a beat basis, but like looking at the show where it is now, I'm kind of like, all right, guys, what's going on? Like,
I either would rather it stay being this beat by beat of just like an average like courtroom drama comedy about a female lawyer. I don't care about Titania because they haven't given me any fucking reason to. And like right now, she just seems annoying. Like I can already. This is the other thing is I'm dreading Titania coming in because I can already tell what kind of character she's going to be. And I'm not saying it's a bad character or a character choice they shouldn't make. It's just a character.
It's a very realistic character.
I don't like.
And yeah. But like,
it's a type of person that drives me up the wall.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, how did you feel about Madison with 2 N's and not Y's, but not where you think it is?
Here's the thing. I know that I would have to deal with her if we were at a bar because somebody would be trying to fuck her. And if you don't agree with me, this is what the poll is going to be. So keep talking while I make a
No,
Twitter
but
poll.
I don't ever have the guts to go up to a girl at a bar, let alone one with that type of personality.
I don't think you'd have to go up to her, Jordan. Because I feel like those girls... No. I don't like this type of girl.
But she'd come up to...
They come up to me.
Yes.
And then, I don't want to deal with them when I'm drunk.
Okay, if they come up to you, it's funny. If they come up to me, I start looking for you being like, hey, the drunk valley girl's annoying me.
I don't think she'd annoy you. I think the second she said, and why, but not where you think it is, would automatically be. That is 100%. I heard that line, and I went, Jordan would hear that at a bar and talk to me for the next hour about how he wants to talk to this girl. And then I would accidentally become like, this is going to be one of those girls that I run into the bathroom and she says some shit, your best friend. Follows me back to Jordan, and it's like, I just don't.
So what is the Twitter poll going to be? What, would Jordan fuck Madison? Or is it?
Yeah, I don't even remember how she spells it though. What is it? M-A-D-D-I?
I can't check. Oh, actually, no, I think so. I can check.
You have a phone. Don't tell me you can't check. You have a phone.
It's
Madisynn.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Here, I don't think the poll should be if I'd bang her because that's a low.
It's not if I'd bang her.
That's a low bar for me.
It's if you try to date her. Because I don't believe for a second that you wouldn't.
See, I don't want to say anything because it might piss off people.
Who would it piss off?
I
can't say what I want to say because I don't want to roast you, but like, who is that going to piss off?
Listen, one night stands one thing. I don't know if I'd be able to take the drunk valley girl act for like longer than 2 weeks.
But here's the thing: she has to be sober at some point, or else like this is an entirely separate issue.
Yeah, that is the different issue.
At all. I like to believe that like she likes to party, but like It's just...
Is it like the thing in How I Met Your Mother when Lily's friend visits? And they're like, is that my girl, Michelle? And then Lily leaves for 2 seconds, and Ted goes, so how's Columbia? And she goes, great, I'm working on my thesis. Like...
Yeah. Yeah, like, it's that energy. Sorry, I'm screenshotting this.
But see, the way she was with Wong makes me think that's just how she is as a person.
Well, that scene with Wong, I was assuming she was also drunk in that scene. And we're getting into the other reason that I did not like this episode. I did not like the way they handled that character, and I did not like the entire Tinder storyline. Unless it's going somewhere that I haven't gotten to yet. That, like, we haven't seen yet.
As for Madison is a very stereotypical type of person, and I think that, like, they played on it to a point where, like, oh, this could be looked at as just like, haha, women who drink and party are dumb, which is just like not true.
Yeah, it just like perpetuated this she was just a caricature. And I'm not saying she needed to be this deep, flawed
No, because she's only a side character for 1 episode of a 9-episode show. Like, I expected her to be a stock character in some way.
But if the second time they opened the portal when they're pulling her into the courtroom, if it was like, I don't know, she's at fucking brunch with her sorority sisters, or she's at her, like, social media marketing, and that's not me making fun of social media marketing, that's what I do, but, like, she works in media like that. Like, her coming out of it in, like, a bright lavender or bright pink, like the suits they sell at Forever 21, like, I think it would have been funnier because it was like, oh, this is also a person. Like, she's a drunk moron, but she's also a human being.
And you could have made the fact that she's a person outside of that the joke.
Yeah, like, that's
like,
even funnier.
How fucking funny would it have been if she was like a preschool teacher?
Yeah, like, that's what I mean. It's like, I feel like that'd be so... Like, I feel like they make that joke in How I Met Your Mother more than just that one time with Michelle. Like, they also do it
with
when Lily goes out. Yeah.
Because all the Woo girls are teachers.
Yeah, they're intelligent people who have since they're in New York, they have to have their bachelor's and their master's, who teach small children and are good at it and enjoy it and talk about the different forms of teaching that are out there. But they can also go out and get really drunk and, like, fuck around and do stupid shit with their friends.
And then they show a video the next day.
Yeah, and that's how you make a whole person. That's how you keep side characters that you don't need to write a deep backstory about from becoming just, like, these obnoxious caricatures. Like, yeah. I think it would have been so much funnier if it was, like... it would have been so funny if they made her, like, a preschool or, like, a kindergarten teacher.
Do you think if she was just a ditz, but she wasn't drinking and partying, that would make you think differently of, like, this trope?
Yes, the fact that we were immediately concerned that this character was an alcoholic is really what pisses me off, because they, like, heavily imply that, like...
Oh, I just like to think she's on, like, a bachelorette party, and so it's just like a weekend. I wasn't sober at all last weekend.
Yeah, but it was a weekend. They're in court, so this is clearly for a civil court. So it's clearly not a weekend. They don't do that on the weekends. And she's from LA because she's going to Mystic, which I was also annoyed that they were making fun of the Magic Mansion, but we can get there in a second. That's just kind of a me thing, but I'm annoyed they're making fun of Magic Mansion.
Magic Mansion sounds like a dirty, dirty place.
No, Magic Mansion is this beautiful, like, turn-of-the-century mansion up in Burbank. And there's a crazy dress code. Girls have to be in either nice pants with a jacket or a gown. Men have to be in nice slacks, nice shoes, a jacket, collared shirt. It's a really, really nice place. You go for these, like, gourmet dinners. And there are all these, like, secret doorways. Because, like, part of the whole thing is you also can, like, explore the mansion. And all the rooms of the mansion, like, there are magicians in there, but you don't know who they are, and they're not doing, like, the obnoxious tricks that this guy is doing. They're doing, like, these mind-bending, like... And there are, like, secret doorways and secret compartments that you can go into, and, like, hidden staircases you can find, and it's just, like, this really, like, old Hollywood, like, secret club kind of feeling.
Can we go there when I visit?
You have to make reservations months in advance.
Never mind.
And I didn't want to drive 2.5 hours to Burbank.
Okay, that's fair.
But I found a bar that we do have to try today when you come out, but
fun.
But yeah, so it just like it bothered me because yeah, she's from LA and they're in the middle of the day at court and she's somewhere in a nightclub, which there are nightclubs in LA that are open during the day and they're weird, but the people who hang out there scare me.
See, I was for a second I thought she was like outside, but I was like, why is it dark?
No, she's in a club.
Okay.
That's why the lights were like pink and dark blue. Much like my room. Oh wait, I can turn them on.
Guys, Leonard's in the club right now.
I'm in the club, friends. No, I haven't been in the club since COVID.
Now, I want to hold off on the Tinder storyline just because I feel like that's going to give a way bigger discussion. So, like, we can pause that.
Too much like Harley Quinn.
No, it's just it's that trope of bisexual lighting.
I mean, it's shoe fits.
But I do want to talk about the magician quickly because me and you were saying on the phone, like, is this supposed to be a Ghost Rider like Easter egg, or does
show the camera? I literally wrote, "Oh, Johnny Blaze," because I was confused, and then crossed it out because I realized his name was Donnie.
Donnie. But then it still makes you go, huh? Why though?
Did you think for a second that when the portal opened with all the little demons, which we'll get there, but like when that opened, I was like, is this how they're going to make him Ghost Rider? Is this how the deal with Satan happens? Because not for nothing, if they deviate that far with this character, I don't think I'll be mad. Because honestly, respect.
I don't necessarily care about the deviation with the origin. I don't want that fucking dude becoming Ghost Rider.
True.
But yeah, part of me is wondering if like, and here's the thing. I doubt we're ever going to see this dude again. Well, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him again, because the cease and desist is still going on. But, like, I don't know, I feel
Well, I mean, how much further does it go when they agree to the terms?
Well, a cease and desist is until further notice sometimes. Like, that's what she was asking for as well.
The only reason I was asking that was because at the very end she goes, so do you agree to our terms of the cease and desist?
And they're like, yeah. This episode was also fascinating as somebody who's into copyright law, because it's like, oh, this is a weird angle.
Oh yeah, by the way, I feel the need to say these in every one of these episodes because it's always where we meander. Anything Jordan says, anything I asked Jordan about what he learned in law school is not law advice. Jordan is not a lawyer. He didn't even complete law school. It's not like one of those things
where he has a degree, like that.
No, you just didn't want to be a lawyer, and so you left law school.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you failed out, but you do not have a law degree. You have not taken the bar.
No,
like, you're not one of those people where it's like, I took the law degree, but I want to be in politics. I never plan on taking the bar. Like, da-da-da-da. Like, you're not one of those.
I don't even view myself as an expert. I just feel like amongst shared screens, I'm like, I know a thing or two.
It's like, yeah, I mean, we all have our niches.
Minus Pokemon, Power Rangers, and law.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so
I feel like Marvel couldn't have given him that name by accident. So
I feel like Donnie Blaze is so close to Johnny Blaze. But also then I had a fun moment in my own brain of going, is Johnny Blaze not actually related to Ghost Rider? Do I just know his name is Johnny and I'm making a weird assumption?
No, Johnny Blaze is Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I just had this moment where I was like, wait, am I wrong? Like, am I...
There have multiple people have taken up the mantle of Ghost Rider, but the actual name Johnny Blaze is the original first Ghost Rider, like 2007 Nicolas Cage movie Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen those?
Which is always... No.
I haven't either, but I kind of want to.
Nicolas Cage gives me an anxiety that I don't even know how to explore. Like, I love National Treasure, which people who watch shared screen content know if you've watched that review. But except for in those movies, he just gives me so much anxiety.
Because he's like fucking insane?
Yeah, like, I don't know if you've ever seen, and like, my problem is that insanity comes across when he's on camera.
No, and like...
Which is why you weren't. Sorry.
The other thing that's fascinating about him is everyone who's worked with him has agreed he is fucking insane. But they've also been like, but he's super nice. Like, nobody has had an issue working with him.
Oh, yeah, and like, that's fair. Like, you can be crazy and...
We need more crazy, nice people.
But, like, you weren't on the National Treasure spoiler cast. I posed the question to the room of how miserable do you think the guy from The Hangover and Diane Kruger were being on set where your options to talk to each other are each other?
That is the guy from The Hangover, isn't it? Like his assistant.
Yeah, you moron. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And
I mean, to be fair, he's only in The Hangover for like 10 minutes.
But he's in the second two more.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of the second one. He's just not with them. He's at the resort because he's not a moron. Is basically his entire storyline.
Yeah.
Never forget that Todd Phillips was told nobody wants a fourth Hangover movie, and so he went, let's make the Joker. And now we're getting a Joker 2 that's a musical with fucking Kathleen Kiner or whatever the fuck her name is.
Can I give a hot take?
What?
I'd rather us be on the fifth Hangover movie.
Honestly, me too, dude. Me too. But yeah, so I posed the question to the room that Diane Kruger and I can't think of his name, but the guy from The Hangover. What it must have been like for them for the times they were on location where the only people they had to interact with were the crew, each other, Nicolas Cage, and Jon Voight. Those are your options.
Was Jon Voight as crazy back then?
Yes, Jon Voight has always been insane.
Okay.
And there's a reason Angelina Jolie never speaks to him. There's also a reason that Angelina Jolie used to wear a vial of Billy Bob Thornton's blood around her neck.
Fun.
Did you not know that when they dated that she did that?
No.
Yeah, she had a little vial of his blood that she wore in a necklace, and somebody just asked her once, like, on a red carpet, hey, that's a very cool necklace, like, what is it? And she was like, oh, it's Billy Bob Thornton's blood. And everyone was like, wait,
we're not just gonna breeze past that.
We can't just...
No.
That can't happen.
But yeah, so, I don't... Here's the thing, I know Johnny Blaze is the original Ghost Rider. What I don't remember is whether or not that's like his legal Christian name or if that's like his performer name.
It's a lot like Black Bolt, where it's like John Blazin or something.
Blazer. His ancestor invented the Blazer.
Johnny Blaze. Yeah, his name is Jonathan Blaze.
Okay. So, and he's like a stunt... Okay, and he's like an Evel Knievel stunt performer thing. I wonder if this is like... I'm not even kidding when I say this. If like this is supposed to be like his brother, who like...
Well, yeah, because they just play it so much. Because you can't tell me that when the skinny little African American man in the corner went, do the thing, you were not expecting that man's head to erupt into flames.
No, because at that point I knew his name was Donnie, and I was like, what's the point here? What are you getting at, Kevin?
Being weird. If they just...
I'm just saying, it's like, you can't, like, I don't know, you can't have, like, a character in a DC show named, like, you know, I'm trying to think of a name that sounds similar to Bruce, but there really isn't one.
No, there's really not.
No.
It's why in most, like, shows where there's a character named Bruce, his nickname, if it's a bigger guy, is always Moose. They always call him that because it's the only thing that rhymes. Yeah. It's the only thing. There are no nicknames for Bruce. Deuce. There are no names that rhyme with Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm searching Donnie Blaze. Donnie Blaze. Stupid ass name.
It's a very stupid stage name. But also, like, magicians tend to have stupid stage names.
But it's also his name.
Do we know that for a fact,
Wong calls him Donnie.
That's true.
Yeah, everybody's saying that they think this means that he's going to end up being Johnny Blaze. Like, when you Google it.
Interesting.
Which, I mean, doesn't surprise me. They're very clearly setting up Mephisto. We saw a portal to literal hell in this episode, and we were all supposed to just breeze on by that.
We also heard about a demon named Jack, and that one guy went, I know Jack. Which is like, what's the story there, buddy?
I don't think he was talking about the demon. Maybe he was.
That's the thing. I'm like, were you, though? Like, see, that dude also was like, there were some points in the episode where I was questioning him. Because just when he just kept repeating what Donnie was saying in the office, I was like, dude, is this like are you a demon and this is like the person you've made, like what's keeping you on this plane? Like, is this your familiar?
So I thought the black guy was the demon. Because there's like a whole thing where magicians and like dark magic people can like do things where they have like a demon that can shapeshift to be like their manager or like their assistant or their butler. And like it's really a demon.
Yeah.
That's a big thing in like urban fantasy.
No, definitely was an interesting choice. But yeah, like you said, the episode was mainly filler, but we could talk about the Tinder storyline. I know you have a lot to say about that.
I have a lot to say about a lot of things, but I need to fix my lighting really quick. Okay. There we go. Because every time I sit back, I'm in darkness.
Since you have a lot to say, you want me to go first, or?
I mean, not everything I have to say is about the Tinder thing. First off, I do have to say I love her father. I would die for her father. He's the sweetest man I have ever met. When he held the shovel, she was like, what's the shovel for? And he goes, we're digging holes, and that's all you need to know. I was like, yes! I love him.
Yeah, I love that energy.
I don't know why he got kicked out when he brought 3 kegs and his frat bro Kev Dog or Kai Dog to
Karmatage. You don't know why that got him kicked out?
No, it really got. I don't know why. I thought it was so funny. I was like, I thought it was so funny that I wrote down the note. Hell yeah, Kai Dog. Right there. I was sitting at my desk crying, laughing.
I think Madison needs to meet Kai Dog.
Yeah, like, God.
I feel like they'd bring out the best and the worst in each other. The highest highs and the lowest lows. Also,
I don't know if you'll understand this because I don't know if you've probably seen this scene because it gets like memed to death on Twitter. But the business card scene from American Psycho.
Yes, I've seen that before.
When Wong pulled out his business card and it came up like that, I wrote the men in American Psycho would have jizzed their pants at seeing that and then immediately murdered Wong. That immediately would have become a Lord of the Flies situation.
No, I feel like he would have been like, that's a really ugly font, but fuck that effect.
It is an ugly font, but that's my...
It matches the brand.
My only other thing about the magician, when the phone goes off in the office that she has like notification on.
That bothered me.
Or whatever the fuck you call it.
Who the fuck leaves their fucking phone not on vibrate nowadays?
I feel like if you're a lawyer, I understand, like, most of the people I know who leave their phone on, it's because they have jobs, like, in medical or something like that, where they need to hear, or, like, my dad has his sound on during tax season, because he knows he's just going to be getting a lot of phone calls that he can't miss.
Okay, I guess if it's, like, not always in your pocket and you need to be reached, I get that. I get if a woman has it in her purse.
Yeah, like having it in your purse, or sometimes like, especially when you're in like work attire where the pockets, it's not like denim, the pockets are like lined. Sometimes you don't feel your phone vibrate. Like the way women's pants that aren't skinny are cut, and then the pockets are lined with silk, sometimes you can't always, or like satin, you can't always feel the phone. And 9 times out of 10, we don't have pockets. So it's, especially at work, on our desk.
Yeah.
Like today, I wore a dress to work today, so my phone was on my desk in this folder the entire time. I got a phone call I couldn't miss, and the only reason I knew I got it was because my watch went off.
Interesting.
So, like, if you had a job like a lawyer where you may need to pick up the phone, like, because if Blonsky, like, this is a hypothetical, but like if Blonsky breaks his parole and he's all of a sudden rampaging across, Chicago or wherever, her office is going to be calling her and being like, you need to get back here, like, right the fuck now, because we need to start prepping for,
like... Wong called her.
Yeah. And so, like, it just, like, made sense to me.
I didn't fully understand why he called her. Like, when he said, call my lawyer, I thought he meant, like, I could get you. I proved you right. Or I proved myself right.
So did I.
It's like, in terms of, like, combat help, like, Jen? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's part of where getting into the Tinder thing so let's just talk about Matcher for a second.
Okay.
No woman swipes like that. No woman does that mass thing like men do. Only men do.
No.
I have never met a woman
her friend doing it on her behalf. I
don't do that. That's not how women work. It's not how we think.
I thought she was just doing it to fuck with her. She was just like, I'm
she's doing it. No, she literally says she's doing it for the same reason you do it. So for people listening, I make fun of Jordan all the time. I make fun of Jordan. Oh, my daddy is texting me. No, stop bothering me about the mail.
Yes, I do. I used to do that. I don't do it anymore because it fucks up your algorithm so much.
Well, because it's not what it's meant for. But yes, so Jordan and I, when we were in college, would be like in a diner or like in a car going somewhere. And I would be driving and I would see out of the corner of my eye Jordan just going like this. And I would look at him and be like, what are you doing? Because assuming that you were playing a game and you'd be like, oh, I'm swiping on Tinder. I'm like, are you even looking at them? No. Why? Well, because I'm only going to match with a small handful. I was like, Jesus. Like, when she went into that whole monologue, I was like, oh, only men do this.
No, but the thing is, I have seen the thing where, like, I've seen things where girls attempt to do the thing where they just swipe right, and they get match. So then it just becomes too annoying for them. Thing.
It's not possible for you to do it as a girl on Tinder.
I'm just assuming this app works differently, too. Like,
oh, I'm assuming it's exactly the same, except that it's, like, mean.
No new matches as a notification.
Yeah, that was I also didn't like that joke because like my immediate thought process was like, why is that a notification? And then she looks at the camera and goes, why is that a notification? And I was like, you don't need to tell.
Tinder reminded me that I haven't gotten a match in like a month. I don't alive myself.
I feel like Tinder is also dying, but that's my. No girl does that. Because do you know what happens what girls do is the exact opposite, where we will sit there for 5 minutes swiping left on people. And then we accidentally swipe left and can never get them back.
Unless you buy like gold or whatever.
Unless you buy gold. And that was I remember in college when that came out and everybody was like, only men are going to pay for this. Because like every girl I knew was like, if I accidentally swipe by somebody, I don't care enough to pay for Tinder Gold to be able to go back.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too, is I don't know any women who take dating apps like Tinder seriously. Especially now.
Well, the only rebuttal I have to that is we don't know what it's like to be on Tinder in your 30s.
Fair, but like, I feel like everybody I know who's in their 30s who uses dating apps is like they use like Bumble or Hinge or the OkCupid app or like Match.
OkCupid went to shit years ago. I'm gonna put that out there right now. Fuck OkCupid.
Okay, so I'm gonna put this out. I have never really used dating apps. I have always been dating people that I met in person. I don't have a lot of do not roll your eyes at me. I did not ask for it.
Yeah, you didn't ask to be hot. It just kind of
happened that way. It's not even that. It's just like, I don't know. Like, I didn't. I'm so afraid of Tinder just because I'm afraid of being murdered that, like. Sorry, my father. Yeah, it's just like I'm so afraid of dying that the idea of meeting up with a stranger on the internet just like never was desirable to me to begin with. And then I met people and started dating them like in person in college, and so I just never really used dating apps.
Good for you.
So like here's the other thing. All of my knowledge of dating apps comes from my girlfriends in college and you.
Well, wildly different experiences.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only rebuttal I have to that is legitimate. I don't know what it's like to be on Tinder when you're 30, because I also don't know what age Match.com becomes acceptable. Because I feel like if I told you tomorrow, hey, I'm making a profile on Match.com, you would laugh and ask if I'm 60.
Okay, here's the thing, though.
Or eHarmony.
eHarmony, I would make fun of you, but that's just because the commercial is always an old man, so my brain has been Pavlovian trained to associate eHarmony with old people.
I had that thought when I saw a Match.com commercial, because Match.com, like, they're not, like, old the way they are in eHarmony. eHarmony is, like...
Oh, it shows old people.
eHarmony is like you were on your second marriage.
Well, because that's the other problem too. Is the only person I've ever known who was on eHarmony was the mother of a boy I went to school with after she got divorced, and so my brain just associates eHarmony with older people.
See, that even to me, I'm like that. That's a more Match.com person. To me, eHarmony is like, you know, Deborah passed away a few years ago, and you need someone to spend your time in the Florida vacation home with. Like it's like,
oh, see, that's not how I look at Match. Match,
eHarmony, I view that way.
Oh yeah,
Match is like divorcees.
Yeah, see, I look at Match
and
as
desperate people
aren't. Yeah, no, like if you said to me tomorrow, like I made a Match account, we're at that age where I would be like, okay.
No, I don't think so. Because
I feel like Tinder is such. Like, I don't think people date off Tinder anymore. It's just, like, hookups.
I feel like people our age would turn to, like you're saying, Bumble or Hinge before we turn to Match.
Well, Match has a good app, is the only reason. I know their UX of their app is, like,
don't convince me to get a Match.com.
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying you turn 27 in December. We're at an age where if you had a Match account, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Like...
I'll surf crack before I make a profile on Match.com.
But this is the other thing that I don't get, is I don't understand, like, with the exception of eHarmony, but that's just because their commercials have tricked me.
What I'm saying is Match does the same thing. I feel like Match, to an extent eHarmony too, both of them had a decent opportunity to, like, switch up their marketing and make it for young people.
All the commercials for Match now feature people our age.
I feel like they're a little older.
I mean, they're actors, because I could quote to you the most popular Match commercial right now. I'm tired of swiping. Look at me with my dog and my camera, because I'm a man.
I feel like Match is somewhere between, like, our age and eHarmony.
Yeah, no, I think I think that might just be your assumption of what it was when we were younger, when dating apps were like, because that's the other thing about us that I think is interesting with dating apps, is we lived through online dating becoming acceptable. Because I remember being young, and if you were an adult I remember when this mom signed up for eHarmony, and everybody was like, what a whore. Because it's like desperate, sad people.
Well, it's also because it's like, I think it really changed with the invention of the smartphone, because before that, you had to walk to a fucking computer, which back then, it's not like everyone had a laptop, so there's probably a computer room, which that's not a word people use anymore. You had to sit down on a desk. You had to fucking turn this thing on, log in. Like, it was a desktop
Everything
level,
was on the computer.
Which just seems like this is how you're like, I could use Tinder when it's slow at work. I could use it when I'm online for something. Match, like websites that you had to use on a 2006 desktop. It's like, that's how you're spending your nights. And that's why I think everybody was like, oof, buddy. And then
it was also, it was like, very much...
I was going to say, we're like of that first, give or take a few years, like generation where like everyone in college had smartphones.
Yeah, and it's also like we get into the whole thing of like, it's such a stupid joke, and you see it on like Facebook memes all the time, but like that when we were younger, the idea, like if we went to 10-year-old Jordan and we're like, hey, you're going to meet, not saying that this is what's going to happen, don't get offended by what I'm about to say, but hey, you're going to meet your wife on an app. She's going to be a stranger from the internet that you meet up with at a bar.
10-year-old Jordan would have been like, am I getting a mail order bride?
Exactly. Like, it would have been like, am I getting a mail order bride? Or like this automatic response of, well, you're not supposed to meet up with people on the internet. People who you meet up with on the internet, they're murderers, they're pedophiles.
We were told, don't get into strangers' car and don't get into, like, don't meet people on the internet. And now I have an app on my phone specifically to get into a stranger's car.
Yeah, like that's the meme that's all over, like it's all over Facebook, but it's also very true. And we're of that really weird, like, because like my sister, who's 5 years older than us, still thinks online dating is weird, that it's sad, that it's not. Because Tinder did not exist when she was in college.
There was a TikTok I meant to send months ago to like our group where specifically our age group, give or take a few years, is one of the most interesting when it comes to social media and stuff, because we saw everything that's happening now when we were in middle school, so no one fucking believed us. We were like, yeah, the internet's filled with like creepy people and, you know, racists and just horrific fucking thoughts. And people were like, these middle schoolers. Go tweet about your, cupcakes are gay muffin memes or whatever. Remember that? And now it's...
I remember... oh my god, the gay muffins.
Roar means I love you and dinosaur.
Gen Z is trying to, like, bring Y2K back in, like, the mid-2000s, when you and I were in middle school and try to make it trendy. And I'm like, guys, mainly to the girls, when you look back on these photos of you with your underwear sticking out of your fucking low-rise jeans and wearing jelly sandals, you are going to want to set yourself on fire. We have all already been there. We did this. We realized it looked dumb.
Yeah, but I feel like I feel like any fashion trend you had in middle school makes you want to... Do you know how badly I want to kill myself when I see myself wearing a giant shirt that says Aeropostale down the side?
Because we grew up in the that period of the 2000s where fashion was terrible. It wasn't just girls' fashion. Men's fashion was worse. Go to Abercrombie and Fitch. It was worse. You go to Abercrombie and Fitch, you buy a pair of jeans that does not fucking fit you, and then you buy a polo that does fit you, and then you buy a polo that's too big to put it over the other polo, and you pop the collar and throw on a
that I think necklace. That I think we're a little too young for. When that was a trend, that was like we were in elementary school and those kids were in high school.
But we're also getting into I knew people dress like pictures. The other thing that we get into with us on this specifically is I don't think your mother would ever let you leave the house wearing 2 polos with both collars popped. I feel like she'd make fun of you before you could get out the front door.
Listen, my mom. See, you think. I think the real thing my mom stopped me from having was a goth face.
Yeah.
Like my mom, I think my mom squished a goth phase really fucking hard.
Yeah. But like that's the thing is my like little emo phase, which kind of never end. I still kind of dress like that. That I don't mind looking back on.
Yeah, but you also probably weren't wearing like pants that could also turn into shorts and wallet chains. Like, you never embraced it that bad.
No, but I knew boys who had those. No, I didn't. But I knew boys that had them. And, like, it's just the fashion from 2001 to, like, 2012 was fucking...
See, I think it's interesting that, like, you point out the annoyances with, like, the prep dress, because anytime I think of early 2000s culture, like 2000s fashion, I think of, like, streetwear in the early 2000s where your jeans started at your knees and you wore basketball jerseys 40 times bigger than your size. Those were worse. Those were fucking worse.
But that's also that wasn't a thing when we were in middle school and high school. That was very much like my sister's friends dressed like that.
See, when I was really young, I had like a couple of uncles who got married and the wives' younger siblings who were like in high school or in like college.
So that would have been the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like I knew people that like wore their huge basketball jerseys, wore jeans that started down there.
Yeah, but your friends didn't. Like, that wasn't going on when we were in middle school and high school.
No. We had
baggy jeans were still a thing, because do you remember the whole
we went I remember for us, 7th grade is when skinny jeans on men became a thing.
Yeah, and it was a bad time because they were not cut well. They were basically women's skinny jeans that we were putting on men and being like, your body can handle. No, your body can't. It doesn't look right. Because guys would always be like, I feel like I'm a muffin top wearing these. You do, because they're cut for somebody who has like a smaller waist and hips, which you don't have because you're a man.
And then you go through puberty and you're like, my balls are getting crushed in this.
Yeah.
But anyway,
like when we were in high school, it was still
now it's like fitted jeans. It's like fitted.
Yeah. And also going back to the 90s with those huge wide leg Jinko jeans. Yeah, there's a reason the 90s have come back twice since the 90s, and the jeans never stayed. You will think you look dumb when you're older.
I hate 90s
and
jeans
we're
so
all
bad.
trying to save you. We're all trying to... None of us are trying to be mean. We get it. We've been there. Girls used to wear fucking whale tails to school. Like, we're trying to...
It's how coming of age movies in 2004 told you she was the popular girl.
Yeah, you were taught who you were supposed to hate or who was the school slut by who wore a whale tail to school.
The only 90s and 2000s early style that I don't hate, and that's because it's kind of like one of those styles that have really never fully gone out in some way or form, is like wearing a button up with a t-shirt under it and leaving the button up open.
Yeah, that's never gone anywhere. It's just become like, and I like this on girls at least. You don't wear a full t-shirt, you wear a crop top or a bralette, and that just keeps it from looking a little too like bulky.
I don't get what you're saying.
Like, I would wear, like, rather than wearing a full t-shirt under a flannel, I would wear something like this. So, like, it's tighter around my boobs and, like, doesn't make
I'm talking specifically about men.
Yeah, it's men's style changes, but also some things never change.
It's like How I Met Your Mother. They go, Ted has that clean cut look that'll never go out of style. Like, that's kind of true.
Kind of, yeah. Like, he wears jeans, he wears a lot of just, like, basics. But he's not like Marshall, who, like, eventually, I feel like everybody goes through a phase at a different time in their life where they buy a fuck ton of graphic t-shirts, and then 10 years later, they're like, these are the cringiest things I've ever seen in my life, and why do I own them? Like, yeah, like, I feel like
there's some graphics that are still fucking cool.
Because, like, guys, you want to see something crazy? Google Charlotte Russe, Forever 21, and Delia's t-shirts from before Dolls Kills owned them. Everybody, all these girls on fucking TikTok and Instagram are like, I love Delia's. I'm like, you love Delia's now because Dolls Kills bought them, and now their clothes are cool. Like, they were not like this before.
I think we've went on a fashion tangent for like 10 minutes, so like let's go back to the Tinder storyline. Because the part I resonated with was like these dates that you're like, wow, this is horrible.
It's just also like, this is the thing though, is like the dates weren't horrible, they were just, I mean, they were horrible.
Okay, the guy in the bowling alley was horrible. The rest,
he was just rude.
He was rude. The rest were people that were weirdly fetishizing the Hulk thing.
Okay, and this is where my issue comes in. Okay, so let's start with the guy in the bowling alley. First off, I don't like you because you lived in New York for 14 months.
And you're like, yeah, that was the funniest fucking line.
Out of here with that shit. Do not speak to me like that. You are not a New Yorker. Fuck off.
That's the type of person they're making fun of.
I don't give a shit.
They're making fun of they're making fun of the guy everybody knows that thinks he's a true New Yorker, even though he went to college there, maybe, and he goes, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. It's like, you're fucking unemployed.
I get that. It still makes me mad. I'm still like, fuck this guy. I don't know why it makes me so angry when people are like, I'm a New Yorker. You've lived there 2 years, you're not a fucking New Yorker.
Because you're like, fuck up. Take my name out your fucking mouth.
Truly. And it's like, I don't give a shit. If you're from fucking Watertown, New York, or like Western New York, you're not a New Yorker in the same way that like when you and I say we're New Yorkers.
I don't even fully think, I don't even like to say I'm a New Yorker because like we didn't grow up in the city. We just went to the city a lot.
I think you and I also have a little bit more of a pass because you grew up for a small period of time in Long Island and I grew up for a very small period of time in Westchester.
I mean, I was 1 to 3. I didn't exactly breathe in the culture of Long Island.
Okay, well, yeah, all right. Well, we were in Austin for like, I think I was only like a year older when we moved up from the White Plains, like Austin area. So like,
yeah, but like
I remember, I have memories of living in White Plains.
Even though I didn't grow up in any significant way in Long Island, I went to Long Island a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I know Long Island culture well, and it's kind of why I hate it.
Yeah, it's not like because like this is the other thing, is it's not like people from our area who like they go into New York like once or twice a year. I was going, and so were you, constantly because my family was down there. Like my dad's parents still like lived in Westchester, lived in White Plains, lived in where fucking Pace is, like right outside the city, the Westchester campus, not the Uptown campus.
Yeah, the Westchester campus is their law school.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like
that's not where my dad went, but well, he went to Pace, not to their law school.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes from Purchase.
Yeah.
Another reason why I'm kind of okay saying New Yorker. I'm like, like White Plains. Like we're kind of on the cusp, but like still, we're not this.
When you used to complain about White Plains, my dad would always be like, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah, because that's the area my dad lived in right after he graduated college because he was going to Pace."
It's fucking horrible.
Yeah, and he grew up in White Plains, but he grew up in like what is technically a suburb of White Plains in Pleasantville. But like, yeah, he like grew up in White Plains and he fucking hates it there.
Yeah.
It's same energy that like pisses me off about people who are like, I'm from Yonkers. I'm like, I don't give a shit that you're from Yonkers. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Yonkers
Yonkers tries to be its own thing. Like, I have some family in Yonkers too, and I remember them being like, oh yeah, we're like the 6th borough, and like me believing that as like an elementary
You're
school.
not the 6th borough. Yonkers is not the 6th borough. Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry that you have to pay for all the expensive shit without any of the benefits of living in New York, but you're not the 6th borough.
Yonkers is all the crime of New York City without any of the fun.
Literally.
Although,
stop telling me you're from Yonkers.
I'd rather give a borough status to Yonkers than Staten Island.
Staten Island is also not the 6th borough, and I also...
No, Staten Island is one of the 5. Like, that is official.
Oh, yeah, it is. I don't like Staten Island being included, because I also don't like the people from Staten Island.
No, because...
Anybody... I'm from here, and you're from somewhere in downstate New York, I don't care. Speak in general terms like the rest of us. Because no one really says, oh, I'm from Ossining. I'm from Westchester. I grew up in Wappingers. I don't fucking say I'm from Wappingers. I'm from Poughkeepsie. People who grew up in Saratoga, I'm from Albany. Like,
Staten Island is the New Jersey of the boroughs, and I mean that in the worst. I mean that in the most disrespectful way I can to both of them.
Brooklyn is insufferable now. Queens is where it's at. Like, Queens is where you want to be.
Peter Parker has it right.
Yeah, truly. Queens is where you want to be. Because, like, fucking Manhattan's expensive, Brooklyn's annoying now, Yonkers is a terrible place and not one of the boroughs. The Bronx is fine.
But let's not gentrify the Bronx anymore.
Yeah, let's leave. Can we not turn the Bronx into Brooklyn? Can we not do it a second time, please? But go to Queens. Queens is great. But yeah, so that pissed me off. And then, this is one of the parts that I was like, I get what they're going for, but like how he's behaving isn't like, there are women that do this. Like, this is
and I have been on dates like that. I've told you that like the person was uninterested the entire time, kind of like did nothing to contribute to the conversation, was very clearly either just for whatever reason was not interested at some point in the day, or probably from the beginning was like, I need a free meal. Which I don't like to say like I don't like to make that as a stereotype, but like I'm also not going to say it never happens.
There's also, this is a me thing, I don't think the expectation should be on the guy to pay. I don't think that's fair.
I like that. I like that opinion. I however always just will choose to pay. Like, that's just a me thing. Are
you afraid of getting yelled at?
No, because I've had people be like, "Oh, let me Venmo you." I'm like, no, and I'll explain my logic to an extent. Is 10 out of 10 times, I'm the one that asked them out, and so I feel like it's I'm the one who said, can I take you to dinner, so that's what I'm doing. If it's a situation where a woman asks a guy out and she wants to pick it up, I mean, I get that. Like, there's a lot of people that I think have come to that expectation of like, hey, if you asked me out, you're the one who's paying. I kind of just like paying on the first date.
It's a mutual agreement that the two of you decided to go out, so you guys can split it. And like, girls who get mad at guys because they were like, do you want to split it, or don't automatically pay, make me want to punch someone in the face. Because like, it's not, everybody who's in their 20s is broke as fuck. They're broke as fuck. You do not owe these men anything. You do not owe them sex. But like, if you're going out, everybody's broke as fuck. This may be like they're spending money for like 2 months if they're paying on their own.
Oh, so I remember one time, and this was like senior year of college, where I had maybe $200 in my bank account if I was lucky. And I told you I came back from a date that cost me $40, and you were like, "What the fuck?"
I remember this. Okay, so here's the thing. This is one of those things that I couldn't remember if it just happened to a guy I knew in college, and so I've associated it to you. But I have a very clear memory of you calling me and being like, "This date was fucking horrible because it cost me $40 and B, like, did it not go well?"
I thought it went well, and then it like. I could tell, like...
Oh, this is the chick that acted like it went well, and you thought it was fine. You spent the $40 on the date, and then she was like, LOL, never mind.
I don't know.
Did this happen to somebody else I knew?
No, I don't know if it was me, because that might have happened multiple times.
Oh, honey, no.
It was somebody that, like,
Honey.
I felt like there was possibly, something, but then, like, towards the end, like, after things wrapped up, it was very clearly, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
and never
bye, bitch.
messaged me again type of thing.
And I'm not saying that that's bad or that she owed you sex.
No, and that's not what I'm saying either.
It's just like, especially when you're in college, I feel like it's unfair to be like, because you have a penis, you must pay the bill. Like, no, we're all broke stuff.
Well, again, like I said, I will usually... I on a first date, at least, on like a true first date, I kind of just insist on doing it, and maybe that's a dumb thing I need to get out of my head, but like...
I mean, that's a you thing, but...
Yeah.
But it's like, my thought process is when you're on a date, like, you're with a human. When I'm at work and somebody's like, hey, want to order lunch from this place? And I agree, I don't assume that person is going to pay.
Yeah,
I
no,
assume
that's
that we're
different.
going to pay for what we eat. Like, dates are the same. It's the same interaction. Somebody asked you to do something. You agreed to go. It's also just a very archaic thing, because if you go with it, which, like, obviously it's archaic, and I'm not roasting you for doing it, but, like, it's very heteronormative in a way that, like, it's like, why are we doing this? Like, just split it. And I'm not saying every time, because you also get to a certain point when you're dating where it's like, I'm paying for this, you'll pay for something, and, you know.
At some point down the road, you're going to pay for something else, like
how you, that's kind of how you, me, and Victoria are, where it's like, oh, well, like, yeah, I pay $10 for this thing, or like, oh, I'll leave the tip, because, like, you're going to probably buy coffee for me, like, in a week or so, and we'll be even. Like,
yeah.
It'll work out eventually. Like, over the course of our friendship, it, like, kind of comes down to zero eventually. But yeah, so that drove me
You say that
crazy.
until somebody comes to your funeral with an abacus. That's like the old little... Yeah. Be like, hold up. How'd this friendship end? Who owes who?
I heard you say abacus, and my brain immediately went cross of a knock. Two very different things.
I don't even know what that means.
It's the cross that has, like, the loop on top.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the cross of a knock. Yeah. So then, I didn't like her making a Tinder as She-Hulk.
And getting mad that that's all people are interested in?
Yes, but I'll get there in a second. Supposedly, so our entire buildup of Jen to this point is that she doesn't really want to be She-Hulk. Like, she is, and she's accepted it and is aware that her life is different now because she's She-Hulk. But she doesn't want to be She-Hulk. She even kind of says in the bar that she knows making a, I'm just going to call it Tinder because Matcher is a stupid fucking name.
Matcher? I barely know her. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Benkiss. But on Tinder, she knows that it's just going to be people like this. And then she does it, and then she goes on 6 dates like that. And it's like,
I half agree and I half don't, where it's like, fuck those guys for fetishizing you. But I'm trying to think of, like, a comparative thing where, like...
But she knows that they're going to fetishize her. And all they do is fetishize her. Every single one of them fetishizes her.
I'm trying to think of the best example I can. And this is the one that's coming to mind because it's something you can't, like, not see. And I'm not, like, implying anything. But, like, there are people out there who fetishize amputees. It's an incredibly fucked up thing.
What do you mean?
It is a thing.
Do not do that. Nobody do that. Don't fetishize anything, first off. But do not do that.
Just hear me out. Let me finish the rest of this example. That is a thing. And that's fucked up for a million reasons. Separate from that, people who are amputees deserve to find love as much as the rest of us. Mm-hmm. And they deserve to find love for who they are. It'd be both, it's fucked up for somebody to fetishize them, and it's also fucked up for somebody to be like, I'm not going to date you because you're an amputee. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you're an amputee on a dating app, every time you get a match, you got to be like, is this dude into it because of the amputation?
Yeah,
like that, I feel like that has to be in the back of your head.
Yeah, but, like,
Like, I'm not saying it negates how fucked up
it, unless you experience it. Just in my, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like not every like when they unfortunately have to amputate a limb, I don't think they hand you a book and they're like, well, people are gonna fetishize this.
I'm assuming. I'm assuming it's somebody who's gone through this for a while,
who's experienced it once.
Again, I'm just trying to think of something. I'm just trying to think of like something similar to being a giant green person, like being something that you can't.
A really buff girl,
like something that
it is being Hulk.
But even the buffest girl is not being what Jen Walters is.
You wouldn't do it. It doesn't mean other people. I know girls that just because they are tall are fetishized the shit.
No, I'm not saying they don't get fetishized. I'm not saying. I'm saying is being a female bodybuilder is not the same as being a Hulk in terms of like what. I don't know.
Well, no, because there's no one-to-one comparison. But literally everything she goes through is exactly what just not skinny girls go through.
So the dude that was ripped, I thought he asked her out on the date just to ask her about like her workout regimen. Like I thought it was going to be that thing.
No. Like it's a whole like weird... Sorry, my family is just like blown up.
Realistically, let's not fetishize anybody for anything, but it is one of those things where it's like,
no,
Jen,
don't follow it up with a but.
But I'm saying what you're saying. You made a She-Hulk profile.
Jen. It's the writer.
Oh.
It shouldn't have been written because she's not even really into it. She's just kind of like, oh, I'm not proud. Like it felt like a guy wrote it.
You know what I think would have been a more realistic follow-up to the scene where she makes the profile and she's getting a ton of matches?
What?
Her just chatting with a bunch of them, listening to their compliments and being like, I'm never going to meet these guys.
Or the other way is that if she...
I feel like I don't know if you're going to like
I'm going to get a buzzer for every time you interrupt me.
I'm sorry.
Or Brett. Or Austin. Every time.
I don't think you're going to like what I'm going to say.
Probably not. Because the other thing is, I love you so much, but you're not a woman.
No.
And like...
And I'm aware.
Like, it's just... It felt like a man wrote it. Because, like, we've spent 3 episodes having it established that Jennifer Walters does not want She-Hulk to define her. That she is her own kind of, like, human being outside of She-Hulk. To then have her do a complete 180 because she doesn't have match... Like, we haven't been given, like, not even, like, a lazy rom-com of, oh, I'm 30 and I want to be married. Like, not even, like, lazy shit like that. To justify her putting up with
if
this.
Anything, it just feels like her paralegal
kind of bullied her.
Bullied her into being like, you're lonely.
Yeah.
And
which, like...
this is the part I think that you're not going to like, but I just think... To say that she made this profile for her gratification one night, is a believable thing. That's, like, step 1. Step 2 being that, like, she goes on all these dates, which you assume are not happening in the same night.
I mean, she's wearing the same dress and sitting in the same place, so I'm assuming it all happened in one night. She's sitting at literally the same table, drinking the same drink in the same dress, so I'm assuming she was just, like, speed dating these guys.
But still, like,
which was also a weird choice.
That's not a thing people do.
No.
I think, like I said before, I think a realistic thing would have had her been just conversating with these people, just for, like, that gratification of people saying nice things to you. Or, and I'm not saying they should have done this, but going through the mindset of, like, she's in a bad place and she's doing this for her own self-image. Now, again, not saying that that's how she should look at herself, but in that moment, that is something that's going on mentally. If she invited one of those people over that night, like, while she was still in, like, that bad place.
Well, this is what I was going to say of, like, I feel like a better way to write it if you needed to have this fucking Tinder storyline in there, which I don't think it needs to be there. But if you need to have this fucking Tinder storyline, have it be that she meets these guys on her Tinder. Because here's the thing. They're calling her She-Hulk, but they're all saying Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk. It doesn't take long. People know her.
I thought that's what was going to happen, is that all the masters she was going to get with her more neutral profile.
Buzzer. Every time. Buzzer. Let me finish the statement. That like, have her get one on her normal Tinder and have, like, the same, if you must have the fucking speed dating at the tiki bar, fucking fine. Have the speed dating at the tiki bar. Let the weird Rick guy, be fucking have issues with his, dick size. Let the creepy, which, by the way, the third guy that was like, I'm a huge fan of you before I matched with you, and it's just kind of, like, getting excited about, like, her powers. I literally wrote, this third guy is Jordan if he ever dated a superhero. And then he called her a specimen, and I wrote in all caps, never mind, this is not Jordan. Jordan knows better than to call a woman a specimen.
Yes, I do.
I literally wrote, never mind, all caps.
But him going, yeah, but, and like, then, as a compliment, I was like, my sweet summer child.
No, buddy, no.
That's, like, the dude I want to sit down and educate, and not, like, beat over the head.
And then have her meet the doctor whose name I did not get.
Yes, I want to talk about him when we're done.
Have her meet him as, he's a terrible human being, and the show passed it off for laughs, but we'll get there in a second. Have him then meet as humans, and have a good date as humans. Have her go home. She has one moment where she does just, like, lose control and turn into the Hulk. And he's too into it. They fuck. And then when she turns back into a person in the morning, have the exact same thing happen, where, like, have it revealed that he's only into her that way when she's the Hulk. Like, if they were going to have a relationship, she would have to turn She-Hulk.
In the bedroom.
Every time they had sex. There we go. Sorry, I accidentally changed my screen and I couldn't get back. There we go.
No, it's fine. See, so at first I was like, oh, like, here's a guy that is actually, like, he sees that she's over the first date bullshit.
Sorry, really quick. When he went, I'm a pediatric oncologist, I went, yikes. Yikes.
I was like, oh, okay, like, I thought they were doing thing where, like, he is gonna be genuine, and he could tell she's over the first date thing, and he himself's over the first date thing. And then he kept saying the right things, and then they show him reading the Bad Feminist book, and I was like,
That's a great book. Highly recommend that book, but men who read it when they're expecting the woman to come back are showing off.
That's why it got to a point where when they were back at her house, I even thought he accidentally spilled the wine on himself on purpose. Where I was like, I think this dude is just a really, really good player. Like, I think he's saying everything that he needs to say, and the way he left at the beginning only confirmed that to me, where I was like, I think you're a fucking liar. I don't think you're a real doctor.
I don't think we're ever going to see that man again, so I don't think it goes that far. Also, pediatric oncologist is a wild lie. That is a wild... You know what a pediatric oncologist is, right?
Yes, but now imagine how many people are gonna eat up the, wow, you work with kids with cancer.
Yeah, but that lie is gonna fall apart very quickly because there aren't a lot of pediatric oncologists.
Okay, but, like, other than you, I don't know somebody who goes on a date with somebody who's saying they're a pediatric oncologist and then goes to, like, their local health department's website and looks up everyone in the system.
You don't go to your local health department's website. You just Google the guy's name. And here's a fun fact for you, Jordan. Every girl you have ever been on a date with off of a dating app Googled you before she went on the date.
You mean they saw my viral tweet and they still didn't want to stay with me?
Have you had many dates since the viral tweet? The viral tweet was during lockdown.
It was January 2021.
That was still during the pandemic. Like, you had COVID in December 2020, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we're still in a pandemic. Like, I feel like your Tinder kind of took a hit at the time because you were in school and a pandemic. But yeah, they've all Googled you. Because, like, that's just what you do. Like, or if you didn't Google, like, if they didn't Google you, their best friend Googled you. I've been that friend. Not me being like, oh, let me Google him. My friends have asked me to Google, like, hey.
But on Tinder, you also don't get someone's last name.
You get it the second the guy goes, yo, have a Snapchat? You get it the second, hey, I hate talking on Tinder, want to talk on Facebook, want to give me your number? You get the last name. It's not that hard. The only people who don't get last names on Tinder are men.
That's fair.
Girls do not. Tinder is not as anonymous as people like to pretend it is. People are Googling you, they're saving your photos and searching it to find your Facebooks. Like, it's not. There is a very different mindset around Tinder for women than there is, well, I'll say for heterosexual women, because I don't really know the experience of lesbian women on Tinder, because I am not one. So, like, I don't really know. There is a fear that no matter what, the person you're meeting up with is not the person they say they are. So you take their photos, you take their names, you Google it,
Aaron,
and you find their Instagram.
Who's using this face to catfish?
But that's the thing, is I go to your Instagram, like, so say I match with you on Tinder. I see either we have mutual friends or Spotify is linked or something. However I choose to do it, I get your last name. I go to your Instagram. You have, I don't know how many followers you have on Instagram.
I think like 700 something.
I go to your Instagram. 700 is a high enough number that it makes sense with your age. Yeah, you have 719 followers, and you're following 549 people, and you have 1,124 posts. That's not a fake account. Like, that's not a fake account. And then, if you were to be concerned about the fake account, I would automatically go to who you follow. If people like, so what I'm seeing right here are me, Amanda, Victoria, and Dwayne. That's a wide enough of, well, I know those people and he knows them, and this group, Amanda, me, Victoria, Dwayne, all follow each other. So either he created a network of catfish, which is not realistic, or he's real. It's when you search Instagrams and they have like almost the same number of followers and people they're following, but they only have a couple of posts. When it looks like the only people that follow them are like spam accounts or like promotion accounts.
The following and followers I get, the having mutual friends or followers on Instagram, the only thing I'd have against that is like, I've moved to new cities and made Tinders before.
Not mutual with me. You have a group of people that you consistently tag in photos who also follow each other. So it shows you have friends, and it's not like, oh, you made a fake sister account. Because that's something people do.
Jesus Christ.
That's what the entire movie Catfish, the original documentary, was about. That girl made up 30 different people. She had an entire network of Facebook fake people. And she posted for all of them. That documentary fucked a lot of people up. But yeah, there's a lot of vetting that goes into it that's not just like, mostly because most girls that are on Tinder aren't just looking to smash. Jen included. Isn't it clearly not just looking to smash?
No.
Also, Jen, have a little more chill. You don't need to make breakfast for somebody you slept with the night before.
I was gonna say, not even make breakfast. Is freshly squeezed orange juice a fucking thing? Like every rom-com or sitcom, when somebody spends the night, they're like, I'm not just making you breakfast. I am freshly squeezing oranges. Like, no.
In this case, I assumed it was a joke to Bruce. Like, I assumed it was like a flashback joke, like a callback. In the second episode, Bruce makes her freshly squeezed orange juice, and she makes fun of him.
Oh, yeah.
And like, he makes some, like, stupid joke about how when you're the Hulk, it's much easier to make freshly squeezed orange juice because you're just stronger. I assumed that was just a callback.
Yeah. But still, it's like a thing that I've seen before. And I'm like, listen, I'm getting Tropicana, you're getting Tropicana.
It's right up there. It's very similar in my brain to 1990s, 80s, 70s sitcoms where the family sits down to a meal of like pancakes, eggs, bacon, fruit, milk, coffee or tea for the adults, and juice. No fucking family is doing that.
Oh, it's not even just in sitcoms. It's in fucking cereal commercials where next to the bowl of cereal, there's also a glass of orange juice and like...
It's like toast and fruit and a bowl of cereal and a glass of orange juice and a glass of milk, and it's like...
In my house, those are all separate breakfasts.
Yeah, like, I've had cereal and toast before when I'm really hungry.
Okay, but who's eating cereal, puts it down, and then takes a sip of orange juice? If you do that, report yourself to the police.
That's eating cereal while drinking orange juice is very normal.
No, because that's two different flavors happening at the same time. And what do you need to be thirsty for when the meal itself is a liquid? Or has a liquid.
You know how I make fun of you sometimes because you chug drinks for no reason and your only reasoning is that it's good? Yeah. 99% of drinks that are had during meals are just for that. Do you really...
Okay, so when I have...
is this a joke?
When I have a beverage with a meal, it's for taste, washing it down, quenching my thirst, and cooling my mouth off. Like, it's a 5-in-1 reasoning. But I can't imagine eating cereal and taking sips of milk from the bowl.
You sip milk from the bowl while you're eating the cereal.
Well, sometimes...
Like a dog.
Sometimes... No, not like... I don't lap it
up. Okay, what we're learning here is Jordan doesn't eat cereal.
No, it's like I take a few bites, I take a little...
No, that is not how you eat cereal, you absolute sociopath! Is that really how you eat cereal?
I don't think I'm explaining it well. Like, I'll eat a good amount, and then I'll sip some of the milk, and then I'll eat a little, like, whatever's left.
That's not how anyone else eats cereal.
If I'm getting to the point where there's way too much milk for the amount of cereal left in the bowl, I'll sip the milk.
Nobody eats cereal like that. You eat the cereal. The only time... I know most people don't drink the milk afterwards because it's gross.
I do.
But the people who do, they eat the bowl of cereal and then drink the milk.
I do that, but what happens is, I like the experience of eating the cereal more than drinking the milk. So if there's still a good amount of cereal in the bowl, but there's too much milk, I even it out.
Oh, you fucking psycho! This is the most disturbing thing you've ever told me about yourself.
No, I think the people that are sipping orange juice halfway through a bowl of cereal are weirder.
Everybody does that, though, Jordan.
I think we found the new Twitter poll.
I'm also making this a poll.
No. I think we need to make this the social video. I think people need the full context, and then we can ask them.
I also am gonna point out we're not getting a social because Alec's not editing. So either you're making the social or we're not doing one.
That is fair.
Because I don't have time to make a social tonight. But yeah, I just didn't like the Tinder storyline. It felt like a dude wrote it. It felt very out of left field. Like her being sad, like. Him coming out and being upset that she wasn't the Hulk was fucking weird. Her, like, and it being kind of, like, played off as a joke was weird. Like, that's fucked up. That is wildly fucked up to do.
Yeah. Like, I feel like we either should have caught the fact that the guy was a bad person before anything happened, or he could have been a good person. And, like, it could have been a possibility.
It just really felt like, oh, haha, Jen got tricked because she's so desperate for love. Like, she's so sad because she's in her 30s and doesn't have a relationship. And so she got tricked, like, oh no. Like, I just didn't like it. Like, it just felt very weird. And, like, very out of left field. And then the fucking... Yeah.
And then we bring Titania back. The way the papers got
served was weird. The way the papers got served confused me.
Well, yeah, people like to serve...
Why is it in a gift box?
Because people like to serve papers in a way where nobody knows they're being served. That way they admit that it's them.
So it's in a gift box?
People do it in all sorts of ways.
It's such a wild thing to
Have you never seen the beginning of... Have you never seen the beginning of Tropic Thunder? Not Tropic Thunder. Pineapple Express. I've never seen
Tropic Thunder, period.
Sorry, I meant the beginning of Pineapple
Express.
Express.
Terrible, problematic movie.
I meant Pineapple Express.
No.
In the beginning, Seth Rogen's character works as a process server and is disguising himself as, like, different people at different jobs to get to the person he needs. Or
okay, but this guy was just like in her home. Like, this was like a Saturday morning drop off. We didn't need a gift box, and you didn't need to pop it open like that. I'm just saying, it was like that scene in Pretty Women where they show her the necklace before they like snap it down on her hands. Like, why are you like, hello? Like, you're not on Deal or Note. You're not a suitcase girl, all right? What are we doing?
Or Jessica Jones.
I get that your job is probably boring, but like, fuck, dude.
Remember Jessica Jones where the one girl pretended to be a big fan of Trish? She was like, oh my god, are you Trish? And she was like, yeah. She goes, you just got served.
Yeah.
You need the person to admit who they are.
Yeah, but like I'm always confused by that because I feel like the general person, like if somebody came up to you on the street, like because they're usually like not dressed like
in suits,
but like they're not dressed like they're not like it. You're not afraid that this is like a drifter. Like they're people who they are dressed and like doing their thing.
Yeah.
Because it's still a job and you have to show up in a certain type of like vibe. If somebody came up to you and was like, "Hey, are you Jordan Deeb?" I feel like you'd be like, "Yeah." Like in Iron Man, isn't that how it goes? Where they go, "You're Tony Stark, right?" And the person, "No," and he goes, "Yes," and then she tries to hand it to him, and it gets fucked up because Tony doesn't take things.
There's a story I have to tell you after this that I don't feel like saying here, just because it involves like personal information that I can't.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Look at my sweet bean making muffins. I feel like this is a wholesome note to end on.
This is a wholesome note to end on. It's just
my sweet child making muffins and settling in. Look at this dapper bean.
Well, next week we will get the follow-up to Titania, hopefully, and we'll get Jen hopefully actually finding not douchebags online. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.